I think it would be a huge mistake for President Trump to choose him because he represents the neocon warmongering establishment of Washington, D.C., which stands diametrically opposed to the very policies that President Trump has always stood for, going all the way back to when he ran for president.
Well, I guess the good news is, if he had been picked as vice president, you'd be like, what is this signal? Maybe he was picked for vice president for domestic reasons, and maybe it's not because he's a neocon war hawk, and that's not going to influence our foreign policy. That would add confusion. Now, at least it's explicit because he's literally been made the guy in charge of our foreign policy.
So it looks like Tulsi Gabbard is going to be a part of Donald Trump's administration. This has been announced this week. Sam Seder broke all of this down on his show, The Majority Report. We're going to see clips of Tulsi Gabbard on Megyn Kelly's show, as well as clips from The Majority Report, the Sam Seder. I will chime in from time to time with my thoughts. Also, let's check this out together.
There's rumors that Tulsi Gabbard is going to be appointed director of national intelligence. I don't know if that's true. She's been a spy for a while, right? I mean,
some psychological operations this entire time, yeah.
Completely anti-war, unless it's specifically against Muslims.
Well, yeah.
And
smarter war. I.e., you call it radical Islam.
And as you know, she campaigned heavily for Donald Trump. Seems to have paid off. Here's her opinion of the new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. But this is an opinion she issued, I guess, a couple of months ago, obviously being quite aware that it was a very strong possibility that Marco Rubio would be tapped for such a position. Interesting what the compromises Tulsi Gabbard are willing to make. I mean, to be fair, she also at one point compromised all of her anti-gay bigotry when she was part of the Democratic Party, and that was more useful to her.
Probably harder for her to do.
Right. And then all of her, wasn't she for a long time like worried about the duopoly, and then decided, actually,
yeah,
as long as it's open to me, I'll take that too.
I think it would be a huge mistake for President Trump to choose him because he represents the neocon warmongering establishment of Washington, D.C., which stands diametrically opposed to the very policies that President Trump has always stood for, going all the way back to when he ran for president in 2016 through that first term in office, and the things that he's talking about wanting to do now. And it would send the wrong message to a lot of folks who are very concerned about the fact that we are on the brink of war with Russia and China and Iran and North Korea. If Marco Rubio is his vice president, then that is what we will face, and it will cause a lot of people to question what kind of foreign policy will actually be executed. Will it be the one that Trump wants and stands for, or will it be one that will continue the deep state neocon warmongers who've gotten us into the mess that we are in now?
I guess the good news is, if he had been picked as vice president, you'd be like, what is this signal? Maybe he was picked for vice president for domestic reasons, and maybe it's not because he's a neocon war hawk, and that's not going to influence our foreign policy. That would add confusion. Now, at least it's explicit because he's literally been made the guy in charge of our foreign policy.
So maybe after all of this, Tulsi Gabbard and little Marco Rubio won't be exchanging Christmas cards this year, or maybe they will. It's all professional wrestling, and even if Tulsi Gabbard actually believed the things that she's saying on Megyn Kelly's show, maybe she said, if you can't beat him, join him.
Tulsi, I want you to go to the library and check out a book by a woman named Doris Kearns Goodwin. It's called Team of Rivals. Look, we're all going to need to get on the same team here. We got big disagreements.
Well, to be fair to Tulsi, Mike Waltz, his chief national security advisor, is even to the right of Marco Rubio in terms of being a neocon.
Another rival.
This guy is like, oh, not only am I not worried about a war with Russia, we should start a war with Russia.
And China.
Waltz, what did he call, he said, Russia's nothing but a gas station with nukes. and he's in favor of attacking Russia. And also getting back into Afghanistan. And God knows what else. I mean,
Give the cult leader a DNI, though. Or the cult member, sorry, not even.
listen, just spy on us. We promise not to bomb Russia with the information you give us. Unbelievable.
And, you know, the MAGA morons, how much did we hear throughout Biden's presidency that, oh, we had peace under Trump and blah, 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 all of this nonsense. Never mind the fact that Donald Trump increased drone bombings, which were already too high under Barack Obama. There was some real fear there for a while. Of course, he had John Bolton as part of his cabinet, and John Bolton won't be around anymore. But there was real fear of getting into a war with Iran. And so now, and with the clown from Fox News that he hired to, or he's not hired, but is apparently his nominee for Secretary of Defense. And this guy has tattoos in Latin about the Crusades on him, his own body. And it's just like, and so people think, oh, Trump's going to be the, you know, he's the anti-war candidate. Now, Trump was correct. I will give Trump credit in 2015 and 2016 when he was saying that Iraq was a massive mistake, because it was. I mean, and you know, that was a pretty safe bet on Donald Trump's part, because most people agreed. Even a lot of right-wingers agreed. But the idea that things are going to be somehow peaceful under Donald Trump, and we're not going to just have a bunch of neocon war hawks in his party, in his cabinet. I mean, does Tulsi Gabbard really think that she's not going to be surrounded by a bunch of neocons?
I mean, I just can't wait for the chorus of Donald Trump is the anti-war candidate, folks, to speak up, unless they were duped. I mean, that would have been so difficult to sort of suss that out. There was no way to tell that Donald Trump had this attitude at all. Literally 4 days after the election, he appoints all these people.
Dave Smith saying he's still happy he passed on the Libertarian candidate to vote for Trump despite all this, which is, you know, that's comic.
Well, what is it that he was voting on?
I don't know. He did say Marco Rubio is a disaster. Might as well give Liz Cheney the State Department. Interesting. I mean, look, he's a comic Dave Smith, not administration staffer Dave Smith. So
I love how people can sort of slide back and forth. I mean, so what I don't understand is if he's a vote for lesser evil from his perspective, which is what it sounds like he's saying, why does he identify as a libertarian all the time?
yeah, just be a Republican.
So they're getting into Dave Smith here, which is not what I really want to talk about. The focus of this video is about Tulsi Gabbard. But again, people think that, you know, but do people really honestly believe this shtick that Tulsi Gabbard has had all along, that she's anti-war? Certainly not anti-war when it comes to Israel and Gaza. But, you know, she's not going to just fall in line with all of these neocons like Marco Rubio, and that Donald Trump is going to be this anti-war president. It's just nonsense. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you actually believe that there's anything principled about Tulsi Gabbard, that she's actually anti-war, or is this just how she's been able to amass some power? And, you know, things are looking like everything worked out for Tulsi Gabbard. She's going to be part of a cabinet of a president. So she'll probably never be president herself, but it seems like Tulsi Gabbard is winning here. Let me know what you think in the comments about Tulsi Gabbard, about Donald Trump choosing little Marco Rubio to be a part of his cabinet, and just that. The thing of, you know, I wonder so much about these people. I mean, what kind of man would allow another man to just insult them, as Donald Trump has done with Marco Rubio over the years, and then go and work for that person? I just can't imagine having such little self-respect and being so power hungry, like somebody such as Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz or any of these other characters, to do that. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable to me. Let me know what you think in the comments about little Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, Sam Seder, any of this. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. I just passed 40,000 subscribers today. I want to keep growing 50,000, 100,000 and beyond. So if you like what I'm doing and you haven't subscribed, please do so. This is Chris on Culture, and I will see you in the next video.